Hey, everybody. Welcome to the LiveWell Action Alliance podcast. We are so excited to have the lovely Tonnie Weatherspoon with us. And let me make sure y'all understand that correctly. Not Witherspoon, but Weatherspoon. Okay? Weatherspoon.
Pronounce it right.
Weatherspoon. And I'm here with my lovely co-host,
Tanya Phillips. Woo woo.
And I'm Sarai Wise. Welcome, everyone.
Okay, so we want to first of all get started to talk about Mrs. Weatherspoon, okay? And this doesn't do her justice, but just a quick little idea of who she is. So Tonnie Weatherspoon is a respected, put some respect on it, family advocate, parenting coach, and emancipatory researcher with over a decade of experience supporting families, schools, and communities across Atlanta. Through her work with the United Way and the Fostering Family Leaders Program, whoop whoop, Tonnie has empowered countless parents to navigate complex educational systems and become strong advocates for their children. She brings a deep commitment to equity, empathy, and cultural responsiveness, and she's currently leading a parent-centered research study that amplifies real stories of modern parenting. A proud mother and grandmother, Tonnie is also a roller skating enthusiast and a passionate voice for self-care and community healing.
Oh, God.
So welcome, everybody. Let's clap it up.
Welcome.
Shorter bio next time.
No, that just was a little snapshot of what all you do, what you got going on. So we thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we do like to do a little icebreaker with our guests, and it'll be a familiar one.
Okay.
So she is a skate enthusiast. How many years you been skating, Tonnie?
We don't want to share that number.
No.
Pick a different question.
Next question.
Right. Next question, ma'am. Next slide. Next slide.
Say all her life.
All right. None of your business, ma'am.
Since she was young.
Okay.
Since she was young.
So the question will be, okay, if you could choose a song to skate to that represented fostering family leaders in its entirety, this program, which we're going to get into what the program is and all that good stuff. This will make sense once we get into our conversation. But if you could choose a song, to represent that you would skate to, what would that song be?
It was most definitely, without a doubt, T.I. Bring 'em out. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
It's hard to yell when the... Okay.
Not that part. Not that part of the song, just the hook.
Okay, and why?
Because I think about bringing out the community. I think about joy, about being intentional, about connecting, about calling your friends out, sharing information, sharing community. And, the beat is really good too.
Okay, I like that. So I feel like for me, I did have a little bit more time to think about that question. What's Aunt Mary's song? Let me not call. She might not like the auntie title. What's Sister Mary? Just fine, 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 fine. Ooh.
Mary J.
Yeah, I won't change my life because it's like, just being grateful in the moment. And, I love what I see when I'm looking at me, when I'm walking past them.
She know all the lyrics.
Yeah, just fine. I'm fine with my family. Like we good. I love my family. I love what I say. I love me and my leadership and my advocacy. So
that's wholesome. I wish I would have picked a more wholesome song.
Yeah.
No, but T.I. is, we got to give love to T.I. So
you know it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for me, I think, so I had a different answer before, but for today, I'm going to say, because it's just been on my spirit, that song, Joy, 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 Joy. It's Pharrell's song, but he has, I forget the name of the choir that sings it. But the beat, when them blessings come through, you feel me? I'm like, that's my jam. I love
I have footage of her. I mean, we were at an event and the song came on and she was like, forget this post, baby. Joy, joy, joy. I was like, okay, well, let him use you. Let him use you. Yeah. She came up. We'll have to post that.
One of my puds, he listens to it now. He'll just randomly put it on because he's like a music connoisseur. Mm-hmm. And this is the one that he speaks a lot through echolalia, language. And so he loves that song though. Really? And so now he listens to that and will play. And I'm just like, I mean, he intentionally is going to and finding it.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm just like, is when the blessings come through. And that's what it is for me, for foster family leaders. It's like when those blessings come through, you know, all of the joy, all of the love, all of the things that you're learning, implementing, all that stuff that we have to have in community, that we need so desperately in community, and what we need as leaders for fostering family leaders. We need that joy to kind of be in there. So
Absolutely.
Okay, I guess I'm last. I'm thinking anything that reminds me of a family reunion, specifically, it's a family reunion. Like that type. So when I think about it, it's like a sway. We can all kind of like sway in unison. That reminds me of the FFL. Good vibes, uplifted, but also we kind of in unison. You know what I mean? Everybody knows the choreography.
Yeah.
Okay, one band, one sound.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I feel like the future, maybe we should do recruiting events at skating rinks for FFL.
Let me tell you, I have suggested it because I think like what we all labeled was like joy, right? Was part of it. And I think that we are not as intentional about joy and don't even see how much it can resonate and bring us together. Who does not like to feel joy?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so, and to see families together like that. I've suggested it several times.
That is a great idea.
But they ain't listen to me. No, I really, we actually do have a reunion for FFL families. And one of the things that I've suggested, we should go to the rink. And we could even set it up so that there could be lessons for people who don't know how to skate in the middle. And for those who does, we can go on the outside and keep the people who can't. You guys stay in the middle until you are escorted out. But you have concession stand, and it's, you know, you have
It's
the
a family vibe.
Yeah, it really is.
Yes.
And it is like, you know, Cascade, it's called Cascade Family Skating, right? And he's very adamant, the owner, about the family part, and it is, he wants it to remain a family theme. So
I love that.
yeah.
Well, it's a thought. You heard
okay.
it. You heard it,
Okay,
folks.
United Way.
I didn't know that there was a FFL family reunion, but that sounds great.
Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah.
That's a great idea. So you bring all the different cohorts from across the city. That's beautiful.
That is amazing. I'm excited. Okay, so one of the things that came up when I was reading your bio that stuck out to me was modern family. So I just want to get from you, what are your thoughts on what that looks like, what that means? What does modern family mean to you?
What modern family means is that there are no judgments on what a family looks like. I think before modern family was a mom and a dad and two kids and a dog, that's nice. That is great. I worked hard to do that myself, right? But whoever shows up, that's the modern family, and accepting them, you know? No judgment. That's the modern family. Who shows up and who is there representing their children.
I love that. I love that. So as we mentioned earlier, we would kind of dive into FFL, which is called Fostering Family Leaders, for those who have not heard about this program. And this is a program that was put together by the United Way. And I believe you all did reference the Child Wellbeing Index for this program. Okay. And it's basically compiled of 10 modules or sessions, if you will, and they focus on different areas. So I'm going to pass it to Tonnie to talk about a little bit more about how it's broken up 1 through 3, 4, all that good stuff.
Okay. So I will tell you guys, Pam Ross, she's actually one of the people who founded the principles for the FFL.
Yeah.
And I think the first 3 sessions, parents are focused on themselves because so many times as parents, we're just hyper focused on the children and the needs of the family and the school and the community, but we be broke down, you know? So it's so important for parents to know, caretakers, who am I? What do I need? And then we focus on family, and then we focus on community. And then the biggest part of it is after we've learned all of these different strategies, how to set goals about power, you know, whether you have power on or power with, learn how to effectively communicate. Then you do a community project. You use everything that you've learned to address an issue in your community. And every community is different, so it allows people to, like, what's going on? Because I know someone who I'm looking at right now who did that. And we are here because of her, you know, and I just think that is absolutely beautiful. And so many times, again, as parents, we have so much going on that we don't even realize how much power we have to change our communities. And you did that.
I love that. And I wanted to shout, so what she is alluding to, so a large part of the Fostering Family Leaders program, and what really my favorite part of it is the Community Action Cycle Project, because it's now everything we've taught you: SMART goals, a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, all these different things. Now, what issue do you see in your community, and it allows us to dream big. And I say us because we are graduates of the Fostering Family Leaders program. And of course, the other cohorts that we have, you notice people's light bulbs go off, oh, I noticed this, and we can do this, and we can do that. So this podcast is, in fact, a product of a Community Action Cycle project. Tanya's group put this together as an idea for how to represent their issue. And we just, we did a proposal, and then we did the work that we needed to do to get the funding, and here we are today. So shout out to GCEJ, Georgia Coalition for Education Justice, and the United Way,
Thank you for the shmoney.
and Ubuntu. And so and we actually just had a graduation on Saturday. We graduated our cohort, but it was a beautiful, just to see them, especially the work, the level of work they put into those projects. Oh my goodness!
Did you guys record it?
We did record it, and we'll definitely share that. So just wanted to shout out our recent graduates. So we have
Shout out Jerica.
Jerica Oki, and then we have Angela Paschal, and we also have Brianna Moore Kelly, and lastly Stacy Tyne. So shout out to those ladies who just graduated the Fostering Family Leaders program.
Fabulous.
Yes,
y'all
and
did
came
y'all
through with the Community Action Cycle project. We cannot wait to share that with you. And
I look forward to it. Ooh.
absolutely, I know. Just smart. Come on now,
Listen,
stay with it. Stay with it. So with that said, so my next question would be, and this is for the entire group. So of all of the activities, so it could be a module or it can be an actual, because I know with the FFL program, it's not just learning, right? We also give assignments, and I know assignments could be intimidating, but I promise you they're fun assignments. It's really more, a lot of them are arts and craft based. Also just being able to do something to make what you've just learned a little bit more tangible. So my question to the group, and we'll start with you, Tonnie, is of all like the crafts or activities that we have to do or modules, like what is your favorite?
Okay, so my favorite, all-time favorite is the iMessages, the one about communication. And so like you said, I like doing the homework because it helps you to be you can reflect, right? And it's different when you're in the classroom and people are looking around, but you get home and kind of sit with it. And for me, it changed my life personally because it helped me to completely change how I resolved issues. So instead of before, I think subconsciously, I was looking for a way to blame Chantel because she, was over here looking cute. Instead of thinking about how cute she was, right, and trying to take all the shine, I had to think about myself. Maybe I should have ironed my own outfit. Maybe I should have brushed my teeth. You know what I'm saying? And so,
or maybe you should have realized that you're cute too.
Thank you. But it really, iMessages really make me think about my responsibility.
Is that you?
That's me. I thought I turned it off. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it. We're gonna roll.
Okay. But it really makes me reflect on my choices and my role in an issue. It has just been powerful. I use it throughout my divorce. I use it with my children. All my children have a snapshot of the screenshot of the iMessage in their phone. And I'll be talking to them and like, is that an iMessage? Oh, I want to cuss. It is not. So that's my favorite.
Okay. All right. So my favorites, plural, right? I like the family crest activity and also the vision boarding.
Yes.
So I never even thought of just to do a family crest, and it's a little bougie, and I like a little bougie. You know what I'm saying? And so to have to dream of what you want. Be intentional about what you want your family to kind of represent, the things that you want to accomplish within your family, like all the things, put it into, and you can just download like a little template. It's really cute from off of the internet or something like that, and fill it in with whatever. I utilize, I think for mine, which was like Panthers, because I love Panthers. I've always loved Panthers.
Oh, so CAU makes sense. Okay.
It does. And then I didn't even realize that that's what was going on when I went to Clark Atlanta. But anyway, I digress. And so, but yeah, I have a tattoo of a panther, like all those things. And so I utilize like just the kind of protection, the stealth mode that they're typically in. And then I wrote like some affirming words. We're indigenous to this land, so I always say this, right? And so one of the things that I did was I utilized American Indian language into the words that I utilize on mine as well. So I really enjoyed that activity. And then the vision boarding, you're projecting, you're manifesting really
Absolutely,
what
for
it is
yourself.
that you want to accomplish for yourself, for if you want to throw some stuff in about your family, your children, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, you're bringing this stuff up so you can see it, visualize it, write it down, write the vision, make it clear, right? Make it plain, so that way you can manifest it and bring it into your reality. So I love those activities.
Definitely. So the vision board is also one of my favorites. I went through the FFL. I was in an FFL cohort, I believe, 2 years ago. And when I look back at that vision board, it is an illustration of a lot of what my life looks like now. And it's like, oh, wow. When I was putting it together, I was in a very different space, and it's really easy to lose track of time, lose track of moments, lose track of what you've done. And so the vision board activity always grounds me in like, oh no, this program really like carried me somewhere.
Yeah.
I also really like, I don't know if it's session 6 or session 7, when we start brainstorming for the community action project, right?
Session 6.
So we like pull out the whiteboard and folks start like typing what they're into. So we've been meeting folks, and you get to know people. And you hear voices, but you finally begin to see what people are specifically into. People are like, no, I need to know about this literacy issue. You know, I'm always in the thing like nutrition, we need more food. And you really get a clear understanding of who the people are. And so that's always, it feels like a transition. We're stepping into a new part of the program.
That's so funny you say that. I love that. It's so funny to me because you think like, facilitating or coaching, you think you know who the participants are until you start talking about community issues and like the passion that comes out, the passion, and then having to see people come together and really work towards a common goal. That is a beautiful segment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed. So for me, my favorite, I'm gonna have to be with you on this one with the iMessages. They know that's my jam. And whenever we get to it, like, Chantel, you got it. I really love the iMessage piece. And it was new to me in FFL, but I just took to it like, wow, this just sitting in that accountability, how you can really resolve conflict without, pushing the blame or, and you could just keep it to my feelings. This is how I feel. It has nothing to do with you. This is me.
Exactly.
I'm taking responsibility for my feelings and the boundary that I'm trying to set with you moving forward. So really love the I statements. And as far as the activity that I feel like for me that has been most impactful, SMART goals. Realizing that a lot of times we don't accomplish our goals because they don't have the SMART outline. And just kind of that in itself, I would attribute that, of course, I attribute, other things to it, but to the weight loss that I've experienced. I've lost 20 pounds and been keeping it out. But I made a SMART goal. Like by this time, by this time, I think I gave myself June or something like that. And, knew the things that I was going to eat and what I wasn't going to do. And it makes a difference. It makes a difference. So I'm utilizing that also with my business now. So just really love that we dug deep into the SMART goals piece. So definitely life-changing for me. So, absolutely.
I want to say something. I like your perspective that you stated about the iMessage, because a lot of times initially when I started using it was just about resolving an issue, right? But it really does help you not only resolve the issue, but it helps shift the mindset to like, me, right? Because the issue, because we all if we have an issue with somebody, we played some role in it. And so it does cause a huge mind shift. I like
Introspection.
that.
Yes, ma'am. So whoever wants to take it next.
I will.
Okay.
You ready? I was wondering if you could help me think through how we can build trust and empowerment among groups of community and caregivers. So both of our cohorts have been mostly groups of women. We've had two small groups of women. And so I think there's a specific vibe when we have groups of Black women in the room. When we talk about diversifying those rooms, bringing men into the space, what do you think is required to create those trusting spaces for caregivers?
Honestly, I mean, okay, this might not be what you guys. So honestly, what I think that spaces should be made for particular groups. I think there might be times for us to get together, but a lot of times when we have men who come into the room, we talk a lot as women. We give details and introspection and forethought, and men are like logical. The phone is right here, and we need to get over there, right? And we tend to over talk them. One time, this man was trying to share his perspective, and the woman with him, they were going back and forth. I was like, ooh, I kind of stayed out of it as a facilitator, right? And she's like, that's because you don't blah, 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 blah. And he was like, well, you know, they weren't even together. That woman was going at it with they didn't even know each other.
Oh, so you assumed that they did because
I thought they were right because she just came at him. So I thought, oh, it's definitely his woman because no. And so when I found out they weren't together, I had to reconvene the exercise and talk about that. I do like when there are men voices in the room, male voice. I mean, that's not the only diversity, right? But I do think that having community agreements when we do have diverse groups, it's really important about not judging, about allowing everyone to say something. And I always talk about there's going to be a weird person in the room. Someone's going to say something that you've never heard. And I say, I'm the weird person. I always say, I am the weird person in the room, right? And accepting that. So that's really important. But I absolutely love conversations when the groups are I don't say homogenized, but this is just what is the word? What is the word? We have everyone looks alike.
This is our wordsmith.
I believe it is homogenized.
Homogenized, okay. And so I think that it's easier to build trust when there's familiarity. When you have a whole bunch of diversity, it's actually challenging. So if each of the groups got to meet individually, when I'm in a group with all Black women. Not that we are all the same, we're all diverse, right? But there's a different level of communication. There are things I can say to you guys that you'll understand. When I'm in a workshop and the mom was saying something to me that I thought was inappropriate, I'm like, get a belt, go get my belt. Everyone laughs because we know what that means. I'm not gonna hit nobody, right? But she knew, okay, you went too far, right? And we can listen, the conversation flows so easily. So I actually do prefer homogenized groups. I think it's easier to get to the point.
That is a brilliant perspective. I don't think I thought about that. When we recruit, we're always like trying to pull, all different voices and things. But when you talk about the sanctity of the space and like people's ability to be open in this space, there is something about it being safe and feeling safe. Yeah. And what that means when you're with people who are like you.
Yeah, I feel diversity is great, and I grew up diversity, and I think there just is more gymnastics to go through.
Yeah,
indeed. When it's diverse.
Yeah. So I have a quick. So you mentioned community agreements, and I would like for our listeners to get a clear,
thank you,
aspect of what that is, especially as it relates to FFL.
Okay, so community agreements are when we as a group come together and decide on what we are going to do to make everyone feel safe. Everyone feels safe enough to share, to engage with each other. So it might be no cell phones. It might be you don't laugh when someone says something. If someone says something weird, laugh internally and keep your face together, right? Because we want everyone to share. It could mean no yelling. Like sometimes I'm a boisterous person, and there are people who that could be challenging for them. So the group as a whole decides what makes them feel safe, and that's what community agreements are. That community, and we don't just make standard community agreements. It's what each individual group needs.
I love that, and that makes me you were speaking, I was like, ooh, I could do that at home. Like, this is something, having community agreements for your home, like, amongst your children. Like, we don't do this.
We don't do that on social media.
And not even we don't do this, we don't do that, but how do you what would make you feel safe at home? Everybody has the input into that.
Absolutely. Yeah, because the kids get a chance to say, so like when I talk about having a family meeting with your children at home, it would be an opportunity for the children to say, Mom, I don't feel comfortable when. But we have to be open enough to be able to receive that as well. It's nice to say it's not really a community agreement if we telling them I need you to keep your shoes off, your head up, your hands here, right?
Right.
Those are more declarations. It's not a community conversation. That is the essence of community agreements.
Come on, agreement versus declaration. Okay, I'm here for it. Okay.
Yeah. So for me, what I've noticed, or what we've noticed, is that many community members may never have the opportunity to participate. We would like for them to, but have the opportunity to participate in the Fostering Family Leaders Program personally. So what would you say are some real life applications that would enable folks to practice this kind of community with the structure, facilitators, and curriculum? And we can have that up. So what are some real life applications that would enable folks to practice this kind of community, period?
We just went through community agreements. So what that means.
Have to have community agreements. iMessages, because there's going to be differences. There's going to be conflict, right? Because she gonna say something I don't believe. She don't believe you should roller skate backwards. She believes you should stand in the middle and just dance, right? And so how are we going to go to the skate rink together unless we are able to communicate effectively and respect each other's differences? To me, those are probably the biggest components. Yeah.
Okay, I like it. So, this is a good one that I do want to know. It's going off into a different, so not a smooth segue, but we're going to go over here because I do
a segue is a segue.
Because I do want to know, I do want to ask this question. So if you could give a message directly to school leaders or policymakers, because with GCEJ, we did the legislative analysis, all of the good things. So here we are. If you could give a message directly to school leaders or policymakers based on what you learned through this experience, what would it be?
To tear down all the school systems and start all over.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
We tear them all down.
Say that thing.
Again, tear them down.
Okay. We're here for it. Yeah.
Policymakers, I really do. We got an opportunity to speak before. It would be that if you look at basic statistics, science tells us that Montessori learning is significantly more impactful to a learning environment, child-led learning, right? Why aren't we doing this? We know that children learn when they are safe and when they play. Proven hands down a million times. Why aren't our classrooms joyful experiences where people can play? Why we need more money for people who are social workers and children advocates, for children who are experiencing social emotional issues and who need social services. If you are living in a motel, in a car, parents homelessness, all of these different things, parents going through divorces, those things it's going to make it hard to manage in a classroom. But if we had funding to support those social emotional needs and then have child-led learning, it sounds like success to me.
Okay.
Right? And so, especially when you look at the stats of the leaders in this country who actually went to Montessori schools or Montessori learning environments. Why don't we have them for everyone else?
Right. No, I agree. I think that would be a brilliant ad, and we could kind of almost have it, not just necessarily say we have to have a utopia of sorts, but we could essentially have that in this society if we were to be able to make sure that it's a joyful experience when we're sending our children to go learn and play.
Absolutely.
To learn and play or learn through play.
Absolutely.
And just think how the creativity will be on just top tier. The
social
kids don't say fleek no more. You're working through a lot of stuff. I can hear you better because you're tapping into whatever it is that I can relate to, because you're allowing me to kind of do my thing and operate in my genius as a child, and we can more so see what it is that they have, and we can nurture that and build that up. And so just imagine if all of us had that coming up. But if we give that to our children, just how dynamic would this world be?
Could you imagine?
I can. I want to imagine.
Because there's schools where some kids, they have where they practice yoga or meditation, and they have meditation rooms and they can take naps, right? Could you imagine a child who could know they're going to get at least one 15-minute nap? When they get upset, instead of getting in-school suspension, and the in-school suspension numbers are crazy to me. And the people who get impacted the most are people who look like my 3 black sons.
Yep.
Okay? Yep. And so for them to have some space to go and calm down and know how to regulate their emotions and to be understood. Like, I think that this is a little bit of a rabbit hole, but for Black boys specifically to be able to express their emotions without people claiming, teachers, that they're afraid of them. Yeah, my son's got to constantly be passive. Don't let him be dark skinned. Don't let them be tall. Don't let them be big and have emotion.
Deep voices.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They cannot express their real emotions. And they're having to do that, hold all that in while they're learning, sitting still with their hands crossed.
Yep, adultification bias.
Absolutely.
And then wondering why they get out in the streets and they cut up sometimes, or they get into relationships and they cut up with whoever their partners are, or just whatever, because it turns into that. The body keeps its score.
It has to come out.
It comes out. So we have to, and never to neglect our daughters, our girls too. I mean, we don't need to.
I'm sorry, I'm biased because I had the 3 sons.
And I got my 2 sons. So no, I agree. But I'm all about. I'm a girl's girl all day, and so it's just. And I love my boys, and so yes, all of us, all of them.
Absolutely.
But I just not to leave us out. Just imagine if we were able to dance and play and sing and create,
do each other's hair,
build, right? But it's a learning experience, because you can make a business out of doing hair.
Yes.
You can make a business out of putting on faces. You can make a business out of all kinds of things. So you're teaching your children to sustain themselves. Our children are being taught that, not having to rely on systems to where if their job decides to let them go tomorrow, because we live in a right to hire.
That's right.
Really, it's a right to fire, but you understand what I'm saying, state.
Right to work state.
So it's just kind of like they do whatever it is that they want to do, and they get to thrive in that. They get to operate in their gifts, talents, and abilities. And just imagine that world.
It's so interesting you would say that, because that reminded me of one of our groups that presented over during the graduation ceremony, and that was one of the things that we're talking about, improving parental engagement and involvement in the schools. And that was their idea, like whatever happened to the talent shows, and those different things that, we used to do.
We said home ec, we said shop, all of those things. We don't have that, because that's learning a trade.
Yeah, it is.
You learn trades.
Now they're trying to sway back into that. We're building high schools and stuff. But again, the whole system in general is not meant for the success of all children.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
That part.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So, so my question to you. So I know typically when we were recruiting, we kind of were focusing on the parents in the room. So the cohort, actually, both cohorts, ladies, we had educators. It was so interesting that we've had in both cohorts multiple educators come into the group. So for
Educators,
me,
admin.
Yep, admin, absolutely. So my question would be, why do you think it's important for us to have more than parents in the group, that it's not just parent focus?
Because educators are parents of sorts, right? And I think community members in general, because if you're an educator, you're touching the lives of children, right?
Every day.
So for me, I'm glad you said that, because I think there needs to be a distinction. Someone who works with children, lives with children, impacts the lives of children. I think that's what's important. An educator, they get to change not only how they might impact their personal children, but every classroom of children that they engage with could change based on their understanding and lessons they've learned about how to engage. Like that's crazy. Like, you might only have 3 kids, but you have 3 classes of 30 kids
that
every year, right? And that means that all of those kids have an opportunity to gain a different perspective, to gain knowledge, insight, even trust and love. And I think that's one of the things that I see with the FFL program, like with the community agreements, roadblocks to communication, and having the opportunity to be able to talk and listen and talk. How powerful could that be for a child in a classroom, or a child who comes into the front office, and the front office ladies at school, they'd be the meanest women they could find. I think that's If you is angry and you don't like people and you type slowly, we need you in the front office. But your makeup's good, right? Because you know they dress nice.
Shout out to Miss Duggar though. Miss Duggar, she
Except for her.
Right. Shout out to Miss Duggar. She had that on lock. Okay.
I'm just saying, they be some mean old women, and so. And I don't feel bad about saying it because I don't work in the schools no more. But I'm just saying, I mean, in a holistic way, thinking about all the people, I'm thinking of educating the village around the children, right? Mm-hmm. How important it is for all of us to know and to understand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
I love that we have, so going back to just our group of folks that were in our cohorts, just how we've had like the parents or the teachers, the admin. Mm-hmm. Jerica, for example, she owned her own daycare, so she's touching the youngs, mm-hmm. With Heart to Nourish. She's moved since, and maybe she's taking it down there. I'm not real sure what the next steps are for her, but I know that my boys went to her actual daycare and learned so much, and they were loved and cared for. And she practiced a lot of different things with the boys while they were there. Uh-huh. She was the one that kind of put me in touch with another parent that was there to kind of help me guide me to where I needed to go, or next steps I needed to go and do for the neurodivergent piece, what I needed to do for getting testing and stuff like that, just to have that, because that's in and of itself is community, right? Right. And so she, in her by alone, just by herself, is a family leader, right? But for her to join this cohort and learn even more, so she can take that and affect more change in her community where she is. That's like, I think this is a beautiful thing. So that's why I love, like, and not to just point out one person or other, because we, Angela, Brianna, Stacy, all of it, and Miss Duggar and everybody else that was in our other groups, like, they all had such phenomenal ways that they could touch the community, and I'm talking about broad span. The schools and the kids and the other educators and what I mean. So like, it's all about the community and bringing in, and the more knowledge that we have, the more understanding that we bring to people about the iMessages, about the vision boarding, about the SWOT analysis and the SMART goals and all the different things. Like, these things are important, and we learn some of that stuff in school, right? But we be taking it and we'll kind of chuck it in the back pocket, But when you bring it back to the forefront and you learn to implement this into a real life, practical type of way in your own family, in your own community, in your own schools, it's a phenomenal thing. So that's why I think fostering family leaders is just an absolute wonderful, wonderful opportunity. So if y'all get a chance, and it's coming, because it's not just our cohort with Ubuntu Community Catalyst, our partners, Odyssey Family Counseling, Furthering Fathering, they have a group. So if you ever see it come through, I implore you to join it. We implore you to join that group so you can learn and get some benefits and affect your community, because this is a birthing thing from us, from our groups.
And apparently you should be able to find a group if you go to the United Way's website, or maybe if you call, fingers crossed, or maybe if you call 211, I'm sure they'll put you in contact with somebody to get you a part of a cohort for our listeners. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, my final question for you is brief. What does leadership look like for families chartering or moving through systems that weren't built for them? So when we think about our families or our community members who are neurodivergent, our community members who are of the immigrant population, what does it look like to embody leadership for those people?
For me, it is having self-awareness to know when you don't know something and being able to ask for help. Keeping your eyes open, like, oh, I think she said she did this before. Let me ask her, I think that's one of the key things, asking for help, knowing when you don't know something. Because a lot of times people think, oh, I'm just going to write something. I'm just going to say something. But knowing what you don't know is really important. And I guess people who have the emotional intelligence to be able to build rapport. I feel sorry for people who don't have the emotional intelligence. So if you're low on family and you don't know how to make friends and you don't know how to say, hey, Chantel, can you help me do, that's a challenge, and maybe that's an area to be able to stretch yourself. You know, when I was a very young parent, I first moved to Georgia. My middle son was in kindergarten, and a mom came in there, and she was teaching the kids French. My oldest son was in middle school. He was learning French. So my baby and my they were speaking French. I was like, my little black babies is speaking French. And it was so sweet, right? Right. Now tell them.
Voulez-vous coucher? Whatever.
No.
Good day.
That's the French I know, Chantel.
Okay, she went too far. She went
We
too
hit it
far.
with the Creole, honey.
I know
Yes,
she didn't.
Lord.
And so, and there was another mom. I forgot what she was doing. Anyways, I'm a young mom. I had my children when I was very young, and they were all old women. They was in their 40s. They was like ancient to me, right? So I was in my mid-20s, and I was
You think we're young.
right.
You'd be like, "Huh?"
And I was like, I realized they knew stuff that I didn't know. And I saw their kids being successful. I saw those moms navigating the school in ways that I didn't know how. I made a promise to myself that I didn't care if they thought I was the dumbest black girl they ever met. This is what I said to myself. I'm going to get all the knowledge, and then they can't take it back from me. And I start asking everyone, oh, how you do that? You know, like, oh my God. You know, just like, I didn't care if they thought my teeth was hanging on my mouth. I didn't care. I just wanted this knowledge. And then I took it back and I started doing parent workshops and sharing it with other mothers like myself. And so then I became the person that people call and say, Tonnie, how you do this? How you do that? You know, and so to me, going back to your question, that's what's really, really important. Being able to have that piece to tap into others who have knowledge, or even the people who are, you go into a system and sometimes you can see someone who has like a loving, caring face. You know, oh, she smiled at me. Can you help me? Being able to say, can you help me? I don't know. You know, Chat GPT can be your friend.
Come on, Sister Chat.
If you're trying to navigate a system and you don't know, go ahead and chat it. You never know. And so, but looking for a smiling face, being able to also share that knowledge with others as well. So as you're doing it, make sure it's not just you gaining some knowledge today, but I'm going to make sure I share it with my people. That's what leadership looks like to me in systems.
That's beautiful. That is. So I know that we're wrapping pretty soon here. So my question to you would be, first and foremost, so I did kind of want to ask a quick little background question for you. Just like what do you feel like put you into this work that you do, into leadership and advocacy and leading parents? What do you feel, how would you sum up what brought you into this work?
Lord, she didn't want me to cry on camera. She want me to cry on camera. She ain't gonna make me do it now. Really, my passion comes from growing up, experiencing trauma growing up as a child, feeling unheard. My first teacher in middle school, who we're still friends with today and we still speak, actually take that back. I had a lot of teachers who cared, but my teacher in middle school, Miss Marquez, shout out Miss Marquez, and I felt like she saw me, you know, and to go all those years not to be seen or heard or understood, and I just wanted a different life experience for my children and every child in my presence. And so I know that I was able to raise my children, and I have, you know, all adult children, 3 sons, 3 goddaughters, everyone's grown. I have grandbabies, and that is a direct reflection from people sharing knowledge with me, people who were not related to me, who shared knowledge and love, and that is.
And now you've become that person.
And I've become that person.
That's beautiful. I love
so
that.
wonderful.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And now the final question that I have for you, for how do we stay connected to Tonnie? First of all, what are you currently working on now? And how do we stay connected to Miss Viral?
Where can we find you, ma'am?
Okay. Well, my study I've been working on since 1922. We're not gonna bring it up right now. It's in the new state. The Great Depression till now. This is gonna be it's gonna be a banger. got a new certification, and anyways. But if you want to reach me, you can reach me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I am at Occasional Supermom. Occasional with 2 C's and 1 S.
Not every day. Occasional.
Occasional super, no pressure. Give myself
important.
grace on them other days.
That spelling was important too, because occasional be taking me out. That word right there, occasional accommodate. I ain't got it. I ain't got it for you. I don't know. I'm gonna need spell check.
I gotta think a red shirt on and a emoji profile picture just in case the word takes you out, okay? So that's where you can find me. DM me, because if you follow me, so I don't be following random people sometimes, to DM me.
You're like, we heard you on the podcast.
And I'll be like, hey girl.
Okay, sounds good. And I think you said you had some, are you currently working on some parenting classes or what?
I am. Actually, my last class was on Saturday.
okay.
The other classes won't be picking up until October.
But tell them about it.
Well, I don't know. I'm waiting for the contract.
Okay. Well, there's that. Soon come.
Well,
But it will be through the SKY program, which is a subsidiary of Fulton County Health Department. And SKY is SKYE. I don't want to mess up the acronym, but if you were to go to Fulton County Board of Health and look up SKY program, we will have parenting classes that start in October.
And is this free 99? Or?
Actually, not only is it free 99 for attendees, they actually get like a $25 gift card. Now that has been in the past. You get paid to learn.
hey, yeah, what I'm talking about.
Incentives.
Exactly.
Exciting. So we are so grateful to have you,
Thank you.
back. And we're so excited about, all that you have going on, and
Thank
just
you.
coming to know you being one of our, coaches in our cohort, and then helping us with our facilitation. So we're
The
so
big
excited.
homie.
Yes, the big homie. That's a good one. The big homie. So thank you, Tonnie. We
Thank
appreciate you
you.
so
Thank
much.
you
Thank
so
you,
much.
ladies. Thank you.
Y'all stay tuned for the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.